I'm 88 years old, and last week my daughter took my car keys. She didn't do it in a cruel way. She stood in the kitchen, her hand open, her voice soft, and she said, "Dad, it's time." And I looked at those keys sitting on the counter like they belonged to someone else, like they were just metal. But they weren't. They were the last small proof that I could still leave whenever I wanted. I handed them to her. That's how independence goes, I suppose. Not in a crash, not in a hospital room, just a quiet handoff in a kitchen you stood in for 40 years. I can feel the edges of my life now. The walls are closer, the days are shorter. I wake up in the morning and I listen to my own breathing before I even open my eyes, just to make sure it's still there. At my age, you count things differently. Not promotions, not paychecks. You count pills. You count stares. You count how many times someone says, "Are you sure you should be doing that?" I always thought I would know when it was time to give things up. I thought it would feel obvious, necessary, but it doesn't. It feels like someone slowly dimming the lights while you're still trying to read. When I was 30, I didn't think about any of this. I had 2 little kids and a mortgage that made my stomach tight every month. I worked at the plant 6 days a week, double shifts when they offered them. I told myself I was doing the right thing. A man takes care of his family. A man doesn't complain. My wife used to ask me to come home earlier on Sundays. Just once, she'd say, "The kids want to show you something." I'd laugh and kiss her forehead and say, "There'll be time. I just need to get us steady first. There'll be time." I said that for decades. I missed school plays because I was tired. I skipped barbecues because I had reports to finish. I postponed vacations because the overtime was too good to pass up. Every decision made sense. That's the tricky part. Nothing felt reckless or selfish. It felt responsible. I was building something. That's what I told myself. And I did build something. We had a house that stayed warm in the winter. My kids went to college. My wife never had to worry about groceries. From the outside, it looked solid, respectable. But independence has a cost no one explains to you. I prided myself on not needing help. I fixed my own roof. I changed my own oil. When my back started acting up in my 50s, I didn't tell anyone. I just moved slower when no one was looking. I thought asking for help was the same as admitting weakness, so I didn't ask. My wife noticed, of course. She always did. She'd stand behind me while I was at the sink and say, "You don't have to carry everything alone." I'd shrug her off, not unkindly, just stubbornly. I thought independence meant standing alone. What it really meant was that I slowly trained everyone to step back. My kids grew up. They called less. That's natural. They had their own lives, their own families. I told them I was proud of them, and I was. But I also made it clear I didn't need much. "We're fine," I'd say. "Don't fuss over us." So they didn't. When my wife got sick in her 70s, it happened quietly at first. She'd forget small things. Leave the stove on. Repeat a story twice in the same afternoon. I told myself it was normal. We're getting older, that's all. I didn't want to look too closely. Independence can become denial if you're not careful. By the time the doctor said the word Alzheimer's, I felt like someone had dropped me through the floor. I remember sitting there, nodding like I understood, like I could fix it with the right tool. But there are some things you can't fix with your hands. For a while, I tried to do it alone. I bathed her, I fed her. I corrected her gently when she called me by her brother's name. I refused outside help. I told the kids, "I've got it." She took care of me all these years. It's my turn. And part of that was love. But part of it was pride. I didn't want strangers in our house. I didn't want anyone to see me struggling. I didn't want to admit that I couldn't carry her to the bathroom without feeling my knees shake. There's a night I still think about. She was standing in the hallway at 2 in the morning, confused, frightened. She didn't know where she was. She looked at me like I was the stranger. I said, "It's me. It's your husband." My voice sounded thin. She stared right through it. That was the first time I felt truly helpless. Eventually, I had to let the nurses come. I had to let my daughter handle the paperwork. I had to admit that loving someone doesn't mean you can save them by yourself. When my wife died, the house went silent in a way I can't describe. Not just quiet, hollow. The kind of silence that presses against your ears. For the first time in my life, I had no one to take care of. And that's when independence turned on me. I could do whatever I wanted. Eat at midnight. Leave the dishes in the sink. Sit in the dark. No one to answer to. No one to compromise with. It sounds freeing. It isn't. The days started to blur. I stopped shaving regularly. I forgot what day it was more than once. My daughter would call and say, "Dad, what did you do today?" And I'd search for something meaningful to tell her. I organized the garage, I'd say. But mostly, I just moved from chair to chair. That's the part no one tells you. When you've spent your life proving you don't need anyone, you wake up one day and realize no one is leaning on you anymore. And without that weight, you feel untethered. When my eyesight began to fail, the doctor suggested I stop driving at night. I nodded. That seemed reasonable. Then it was highways. Then it was all together. Each step felt small, sensible, safe. Until last week, when those keys left my hand. I sat at the kitchen table after my daughter drove away, and I stared at the empty hook by the door. I thought about all the miles I'd driven, taking the kids to baseball practice, late-night trips for ice cream, driving my wife home from our first date in that old Ford that barely started. Those keys held more than metal. They held proof that I could choose my direction. Now I wait for someone else to choose it for me. It's humbling, and if I'm honest, it's frightening. But here's what I've learned, and I wish I'd understood it sooner. Independence is not the same as isolation. I spent too many years believing that strength meant silence, that being a good husband and father meant absorbing everything without complaint, that if I could just handle things myself, I'd be protecting the people I loved. What I was really doing was building a life where I was needed, but not known. My wife knew me, of course. She saw through all of it. But I didn't let my children see me uncertain. I didn't let them see me scared. I didn't let them see me ask for help. So now, when I do need help, it feels foreign to all of us. My daughter stands in my kitchen and gently suggests moving me closer to her house. Just in case, she says, it would make me feel better. And I bristle. Even at 88, I bristle. Because giving up independence feels like erasing the man I was. But the truth is that man is already fading. Not in dignity, just in ability. My hands shake when I button my shirt. I read the same line in the newspaper 3 times. I get tired from carrying groceries I used to lift without thinking. Time doesn't ask permission. It just keeps going. If you're younger than me, you probably think this is about driving, or houses, or assisted living. It isn't. It's about the small decisions you make long before you're old. It's about saying, "I'm fine," when you're not. It's about staying late at work because you think love can wait. It's about refusing help because you think needing someone makes you smaller. I was so determined to stand on my own 2 feet that I forgot how good it feels to lean. There are moments now, sitting in this quiet house, when I would trade every overtime shift for one more ordinary Sunday afternoon with my wife. Just sitting, just listening to the kids argue in the yard. I thought independence would protect me from loss, like if I was strong enough, steady enough, I could hold everything in place. But nothing stays. Not health, not memory, not the people you love. What stays are the moments you chose to be present, or the ones you postponed. I don't regret working hard. I don't regret providing. I'm proud of that. But I do regret the way I wore independence like armor. I regret the times I could have said, I'm tired, or I'm scared, or I need you. Because now, at 88, I need people more than ever. And that isn't a failure. It's just the shape of this stage of life. If you're standing at the edge of giving something up, your keys, your house, your pride, I won't tell you what to do. I've learned not to hand out instructions. Life doesn't follow them anyway. But I will say this: don't confuse independence with worth. You are not your driver's license. You are not the house you maintain alone. You are not the last person to ask for help. If this meant something to you, maybe sit with it a while. Maybe call someone you've been meaning to call. Not because you're weak, but because one day you might be 88, sitting at a kitchen table, staring at an empty hook on the wall, and you'll understand that what you really wanted wasn't independence. It was connection. I'm still here, still breathing, still able to tell you this. And tomorrow, when my daughter comes by to drive me to the pharmacy, I'll try to hand her the passenger seat without resentment. I'll try to see it not as an ending, but as a different kind of closeness. Because at the end of all this, when the house finally goes quiet for good, I don't think I'll be counting the things I managed alone. I'll be counting the times I let someone walk beside me.